Hello! Today we're going to cover the Manhua recap titled, Release That Witch. Our king wakes up, and aware that he is in a different world, saves a witch who is about to be executed, saying that they are a very important resource in this world, and that their execution would be a waste. The witch tells the king that his curiosity will kill him. While the witch is eating, the king plans that with the abilities witches have, they will be able to handle a lot of work with ease. After explaining to the public what their initial goal was, he introduces his siblings from old to young, reminding them that they can be attacked by various giant monsters. After realizing that there are a few mistakes here, he learns that he has the support of the public. After that, the king wakes up in the same place again. The real personality of the king belongs to the person who designed the world he lived in and wrote his story. While the king thinks that there is an error in the blueprints he wrote, he experiences several events. And in the end, he remembers that for the story to progress, he must not save the witch, but execute them. The king decides to free the witch again. After some discussion with others who heard this, he says it would be more logical for them to wait for the other witches and clean them all at once. Then he says he will rest and retreats to his room. He then goes down to the dungeon with the others to learn more about the witch. The king tries to talk to the witch, while the knight insists on the king to be careful. The king continues to talk to the witch, rejecting the knight. The witch tells him that her father reported her after several unfortunate events in the mine. Vizier tells him that the witch has already confessed and that they must execute her immediately. The king refuses, saying that he wants to see her power. At the king's request to see the witch's power, the witch said that the necklace around her neck prevented her from controlling her powers. The king breaks off the necklace and asks the witch to show off her powers. After the witch showed her powers, while the king was left staring in amazement, the witch thinks she will be executed. The king immediately gives her his jacket and says he wants to hire her. Vizier objects when he sees that the king will hire the witch. After some more discussion about it in the king's chamber, we see that the witch, Anna, is prepared and sent to meet the king. While the king is examining the place where he will train the witch Anna arrives. Anna asks the king if he is afraid of her, even though she has a demonic curse. The king says that he is not afraid, and will try to train her to control her powers. After a while the king is training Anna, the knight arrives and announces that they will soon be attacked by the devil. After discussing and planning for a while, the king asks the vizier to summon the best knights. Afterwards, the king tells Anna to tell him about the devil. After Anna talks about the devil, she mentions that her father sold her for 25 gold. Hearing this, the king assures Anna that the devil will not come again and goes to meet with the knights. While one of the knights says that the demons can be seen from the archer towers, one of them comes out and says that he has killed demons before. We learn that his name is Iron Axe, after this prominent knight said he had killed 2 demons before. After learning a little about demons, the king decides to go to the border city. After arguing with the king for a while, his bodyguard tells him that he will protect him with his life. Meanwhile, in Grey Castle, we see Garcia Wimbledon talking to one of the knights about the king and his brothers. After that, we see that teacher Carl Van Bate dreamed of Anna being hanged. After the teacher did some evaluation about it, a little girl comes and asks the teacher if she feels weird and if she can hang like Anna. After a while, the teacher thinks that he should support the king because he does not like the Holy Church. After the king and his bodyguard make plans about the walls in the border town, we see the cement material that the king asked Anna to produce. The next day, after seeing how functional the cement is, we see the king saying that it will prove to be the #1 production resource for witches. Later, we see the king summoning her to meet the teacher. The teacher is shocked to see Anna alive. He starts apologizing to Anna. Afterwards, the king asks the teacher why he is Anna's teacher, even though he is a stonemason. The teacher explains that he is no longer a stonemason and is only teaching. While talking to the teacher, the king is delighted to learn that there is another witch. Then we see that the king met the little witch, Nana, whom the teacher was talking about. While the little witch Nana thinks she will be executed, the king says that of course that will not happen. Then we see Nana show off her powers. The king, guessing that Nana's powers could be healing, asks his bodyguard to bring a chicken. After the king's bodyguard Carter brings the chicken, the king deals fatal damage to the chicken. Then the king asks Nana to cure the chicken. After the king sees the chicken die, he realizes that Nana's power can only partially heal, but not completely. After the king arranged a nice feast for Anna and Nana with this freshly slaughtered chicken, the king assures Anna that all witches can live like normal people as long as he is alive. After today, we see the king training witches every afternoon. While the king is making assessments and plans about it, he learns from his vizier that their money is about to run out. We see that the vizier plans to resign if the fourth prince, the king, continues like this. Vizier, suspicious of the king's recent actions, thinks that a demon may have poisoned him. Meanwhile, at the border town pier, we see the ambassador coming with his assistant to see the king years later. With the king and ambassador at the dinner table, the ambassador begins his speech by telling the king that they should normally have started handling the ore business in the border town. He also mentions that he did not see any ore there. The king says that they have to drag this job to the next year because there are some problems on the northern slope of the mine. On top of that, the ambassador asks about the past 2 months. The king reminds him that the devil's attack happened 2 years ago, saying that according to the contract, 1 or 2 pieces of stone would not be enough to feed his people. He says that if they continue with these conditions, they will not be able to continue like this, saying that there is no chance of their people surviving this winter. The ambassador apologizes and promises to talk to the 6 big families and make things right. At that time, the king realizes that the ambassador is from a noble family and asks him if he can contribute to the barter agreement. After thinking for a while, the ambassador remembered that it would be difficult for him to convince his father. Thinking he should try it anyway, he tells the king it's possible if he trades at a 30% discount. Afterwards, the ambassador tells the king that dangerous things can happen easily, by mistake. On top of that, the king talks about the wall he is building. The ambassador is shocked to hear this. He tells the king that he will take the deal to the big families, but he says he wants to see the wall before he goes. At night, when the king returned to his room to rest, Nightingale is waiting for the king. The king tries to escape, thinking it was an assassination, but Nightingale stops him and says she just wants to talk. After Nightingale introduces herself, she thanks the king for his treatment of the witches, and the king realizes that she is a witch. Afterwards, Nightingale says that she has seen everything he has done for the past week with her own eyes. While the king cannot hide his confused face, Nightingale invites him to sit, and she shows her face, saying that there is nothing to be afraid of. Nightingale states that she is surprised that the king's eyes are just curious instead of afraid, and says that the main reason she came was to take Anna and Nana away. The king instantly refuses. Nightingale says that the Witch Association is to gather witches together to ensure their safety. When the king says that they are very comfortable and safe here, he thinks of calling all the witches to the border town. After receiving this unexpected offer, Nightingale says she has another reason to take Anna and Nana. She tells that Anna is about to come of age. Nightingale says that coming of age is when the power within the witch begins to torture her. She says that she will most likely die as a result. On top of that, the king says that even though all his plans are with Anna and Nana, he can't let them die for it, and tells Nightingale that she can take them. Anna appears out of nowhere, and she says she doesn't want to go, saying that this can't kill her, and she can get over it. She says she wants to stay with the king. Afterwards, Nightingale says she will talk to them if there is a problem, and disappears. The king is surprised to see Nightingale's power, and then tells Anna that it is not yet morning, so she should go to bed. After a while, the king tells his people about the ores to be sold and the border town. He offers his people to spend the winter in the border town. While the people are worried, the king says that they will give 25 gold to anyone who defends the town against the devil that comes to the border town from the people, and an extra 5 gold for those who die in the war. All the people eagerly accept this offer. Meanwhile, we see the ambassador start talking to the families about the offer. The ambassador says that the king will sell the ores at 50% discount. If they accept the offer, they will make a lot of profit. And if the king succeeds against the devil in the border town, they will no longer have to fight the demons every year. The family leader tells the ambassador that he is right, but says that he only thought of advantages and disadvantages like a merchant, that no one could interfere in his kingdom, and that the king could not be an exception. He leaves the hall. The king shows his knight and his new steam engine to Anna. He states that with Anna's power, they can easily handle a lot of work that requires manpower. The knight begins to imagine for a while what this steam engine can do, wondering if the traditional knights will ever be needed. While the knight gets lost in his thoughts, the king tells him that his farming plan with this steam engine is one step ahead. At the end of the day, when the king has retired to his room to rest, Nightingale appears again in his room. While the king complains about this, Nightingale examines the blueprints of the steam engine. Nightingale takes the blueprint, saying that after learning what the steam engine is for, she can use it for the Witch Association. While the king says he does not approve of this, Nightingale shows him the letter she found. After the king examines the letter, Nightingale says it is highly likely that it came from his brothers. The king tells Nightingale to find out who is the sender of this letter. Nightingale accepts the job, saying she will count the blueprint as her reward. Later, while the king is sitting in his room, the knight tells him that the maid who will soon be appointed to serve the king has fallen from the balcony. He states that there are no people or strangers anywhere near the crime scene and leaves the room. Soon after, Nightingale arrives. The king asks her if she has anything. Nightingale says that the maid tried to commit suicide when she saw her. The king asks Nightingale if she really can't get her under control. Nightingale says she tied her up, but tried to commit suicide by nibbling on the poison she had trapped between her teeth. She then tells him that she threw her off the balcony to make it look like an accident. But she says she found the letters of the maid, and that the seas are often mentioned. Nightingale tells the king that only one of his brothers can see the sea, and that it is his sister, Garcia. She tells the king that Garcia and the maid are plotting to assassinate him. The king says that this is a fight for the throne, and although he does not fight for it, his siblings will fight. Realizing that someone is there, Nightingale vanishes in the daylight. The vizier enters the king's chamber and tells him that among the people, those willing to fight in the border town are known, and they are waiting for him. The vizier is worried about this, the king realizes. When they come to see the volunteers, the knight shows the king a group of weak youths, telling him they found the best they can find. The vizier advises the king to recruit experienced mercenaries, but the king says he will take the volunteers. And we've come to the end of our recap for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next recaps. Take care.